According to Abraham Maslow, every age but ours, unfortunately, we are the exception here, every age has had its model, its ideal. All of these, however, have been given up by our culture today. The saint, the hero, the gentleman, the knight, the mystic. About all we have left is the well adjusted man without problems, a very pale and doubtful substitute. Not too long ago, I published this video as part of Lesson 6 on modern existentialism. And in this video, I talk about what I consider to be the biggest paradox of existence. Okay? That is the fact that most people today, most people by far, they want the exact same thing. Everybody wants to have an easy life, a life with no stress, no worries, no problems, and a life with a lot of freedom, right? Freedom to do all sorts of things and freedom to enjoy the basic pleasures of life, let's say. To spend time with friends, quality time with family members, going to the beach, drinking a nice cold beer. That's the kind of life that we all want. Well, the paradox is that this kind of life, friends, is the most meaningless, the most shallow, and even misguided form of existence that you can conceive. Why? Because in reality, the only thing that can produce sustained meaning, value, and joy in life is work. Yeah. So, well, I talk about that in this video that I was telling you about. Actually, I'm going to put a tag here so you can check it out. But reading this portion of Maslow made me think of the same thing, of the same paradox. That is our ideal today. That's the kind of person we want to become in the future when we retire or when we win the lottery, right? We want to be that person, a well adjusted person, which simply means a good person with an easy life. That's it. That's our model, our ideal today. So we no longer care about the saint. Like, really? Who wants to be a saint today, right? A hero, a gentleman. So we don't care about these old models. We have settled with a good person with an easy life, with no problems. A very pale and doubtful substitute. Now, let me go back to Maslow. Maslow writes, the present treatment that he presents in this book, Towards a Psychology of Being, the present treatment derives mostly from a direct study of psychologically healthy individuals. Now, friends, this is the heart of the lesson here because Maslow is telling us that he has dedicated his time, energy, his research to study this particular group of people, people who are psychologically healthy. And that means not only people who are happy in an important, meaningful sense, but also people who have an unwavering inner peace, let's say, people with a lot of wisdom, people who are resilient and who live with a sense of purpose and who have like solid, meaningful relationships with people. Okay. Maslow has a very particular way of calling this kind of individuals. He calls them self-actualized. And for Maslow, this is the ideal. Okay, so I hope you're beginning to see what Maslow is trying to do in this book. Considering the poor, lousy model that we have today, good person with an easy life, he wants to put together a much better model using scientific research. And this ideal he calls the self-actualized person. Now, I have to say, I have to involve existentialism here because in existentialism, the ideal, let's say, the ideal form of existence is a person who exhibits three features. Someone who lives authentically, okay? Someone who is, in other words, the same person here, there, everywhere, at home, at work. Someone who is not a fake, who wears masks, right, or facades, or wears hats. This is very important. This is something we talked about in the previous video, and something that Maslow acknowledges as a contribution of existentialism to psychology, living authentically. So this is the ideal in existentialism. Number one, living authentically. Number two, knowing yourself, like completely. Like you know why you do the things you do. Exactly. Like you know full well. You can give an account of every single choice you make. You know why you believe in the things you do. So you know yourself completely. Number two. And number three, you're somebody who knows what you're living for. Okay, you live deliberately. You don't go with the flow. You have a clear idea of the kind of person you want to be or the kind of place you want to be in, and your life is committed to that idea. Okay, so your life has focus. So those three things are necessary in an ideal form of existence, let's say. Now, that's the self-actualized individual for Maslow. Now, let me go back to the quote. This study was undertaken to supply a firmer foundation for the theory of therapy. So you see how important this is. Maslow wants to provide a great foundation for therapy, but not only therapy, for a theory of pathology and therefore of values. Gosh, I'm going to say a lot about values in an upcoming video. Okay, continuing with the quote. The true goals of education, the true goal of psychotherapy, of self-development can be discovered only by such a direct attack, by such a direct study of the optimal, psychologically healthy individual, the self-actualized individual. Why? Because the end product of growth, self-actualization, teaches us much about the processes of growth. This makes so much sense. And friends, to illustrate the value of this approach, I want you to consider people who have written extensively about financial success. And I'm thinking of people like Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David, who pretty much in their entire professional lives, they have studied financial success. And they have done something very similar. They have studied, they have interviewed people who started with very little or nothing, and they managed to become rich. And they have studied these people with this goal in mind, to identify the particular set of attitudes, habits, beliefs that lead to financial success. So in order that we know the secret, what the secret is to become rich, right? It's all about identifying and then adopting the same set of attitudes, habits, and beliefs, and so on. And Maslow did pretty much the same thing. Traditionally, the approach to psychotherapy has been something like this. It's been, let's say I'm your therapist and you come to me because, you have a problem, right? You're depressed, you're anxious, or you don't know what's wrong with you, but you're suffering psychologically. And you come to my practice and I try to engage you in a conversation, and I try to dig in your past to see, trying to find a traumatic experience, something that is bothering you, something that is the cause of your suffering. And once we identify that experience, then we work to fix it. So that has been traditionally the approach to psychotherapy. And unfortunately, in many cases today, therapists still do the same thing. They have the same approach. They talk to you and they try to fix you. Try to find what's wrong with you and then fix you. Maslow proposes the following. He says, how about instead of doing that, we have a model. we have this ideal, the self-actualized person, and we know the exact set of attitudes, habits, beliefs, experiences, mindset, and so on that we know for a fact, we know scientifically lead to optimal mental health and self-actualization. Because once we have that, then your therapist can work with you so you develop those same attitudes, same habits and beliefs, and so on. So he can get you out of your misery, your mental health condition, right? Now, this is what I'm going to be sharing with you in the upcoming videos. I'm going to be taking some of those attitudes, beliefs, practices that we know now scientifically lead to optimal mental health. So I hope you're excited about that because I am. And that's all I have to say today. And all I'm going to ask you, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.